All right, looks like we've got about 20 participants so far. Jordan, would you like me to go ahead and get started, or should we wait?
Please. Let's go ahead and get rolling, and we will pick up anybody at the end.
All right, that sounds good. Well, welcome everyone to Premier 2022. This session is specifically for students who just don't quite know what you want to major in yet. And I'm just here to tell you guys that that's perfectly fine. It's as a mother of a 14-year-old is my oldest, and we just now had to sit down and talk about him moving into high school and what is he going to do, and which track is he going to go on. And my things certainly have changed since I was a high school student, because I'm sitting there talking to him and the counselors and everything and saying, well, how is a 14-year-old supposed to know what he wants to do for the rest of his life? So I totally get it, and I just want to tell you guys that Baylor's a great place to be, even if you're not quite sure what you want to do. So I am Dr. Marcie Moehnke. I'm an associate dean for undergraduate studies. And so I just kind of want to talk to you a little bit about the College of Arts and Sciences, specifically talking a little bit about some different options for you as you begin to think about and explore what you want to major in. So the College of Arts and Sciences, we are Baylor's oldest and largest academic unit. About 43% of all undergrads at Baylor are actually in the College of Arts and Sciences. Now, sometimes that's a little confusing, so I do want to explain kind of what that means. We've got Baylor University, and then within the university, there are different colleges. So for instance, there is College of Arts and Sciences. Obviously, we're the biggest, right? But there's also like the business school, the music school, Robbins College. And so we've got these different kind of areas, and within each of those, there are different academic units and majors. And so we're going to specifically be talking about the College of Arts and Sciences. We are a very broad college because we have classes in humanities, sciences, and social sciences, just like the name implies, arts and sciences. And so within our college, there are 25 different departments, again, spanning the humanities, sciences, and social sciences. And because each department could have multiple majors, throughout the College of Arts and Sciences, there are over 100 different major courses of study. So a lot of options there, particularly if you don't quite know exactly what you want to do. I'm sure that you guys probably have been introduced to this term, liberal arts education, or the fact that Baylor is a liberal arts institution. And so you're probably familiar with what that means. And there's a lot of different ways to describe and define that. But here's one way that I think really does a good job of explaining why a liberal arts education is so important. This type of education is going to help you to learn how to think, but it's not going to tell you what to think. And so a liberal arts education is very, very broad in scope. Here in a minute, I'm going to talk a little bit about our core curriculum, and you'll begin to see that students at Baylor take a wide variety of courses as a part of the core curriculum. And then they, obviously will take courses within their major. And this is particularly important for students that don't know exactly what they want to do, what they want to major in, because you don't have to know when you set foot on the Baylor campus exactly what your major is going to be. You could be undecided, and that's perfectly fine. We have a lot of people who can help you figure out what you want to do. But one of the best ways to figure that out really is taking a bunch of different types of classes, and those classes are all a part of the core curriculum. So things that the other benefits for a liberal arts institution, thinking critically and analytically is very important. Learning how to solve challenging, complex problems through offering these different programs that require you to be challenged. Learning how to communicate clearly and forcefully, both in your writing communication as well as in your speaking communication. We offer 4 different degrees. We have a Bachelor of Arts degree, we have a Bachelor of Sciences degree, a Bachelor of Fine Arts, and then a Bachelor of Science in Aviation Science degree. And so within each of these, for instance, when you see Bachelor of Sciences or a BS, that's the name of the degree. And then you'll do your degree in a particular major. So like you may have a Bachelor of Science in Physics or a Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry. Bachelor of Arts, that might be a Bachelor of Arts in Religion. So this is just the list of the names of the actual degrees, and then you have a major within that. So just a little bit of discussion here about our core curriculum. What we mean by core curriculum is these are the courses that every single student in the College of Arts and Sciences will have to take. Sometimes I remember hearing the term years ago thrown around as these are your basics, if you will. That term may not be used as much anymore, but core curriculum or core requirements is often the term that's used. And that's about 50 hours. So you need 124 hours in order to graduate, in order to get your degree. And of those 124, 50 of those hours are going to be courses that will be required of all students in the College of Arts and Sciences. So the breakdown of that 50 hours, as you'll see here, is there are 15 hours of what we call common courses. Each course is a 3-hour course or 3 credit hour course. If you don't know what that means, it means that you spend about 3 hours a week in that class. And so that's why it's called 3 credit hours. And so there are 5 common courses worth 3 credit hours each. And that totals 15 hours. I'll talk more about what these courses are here in the next slide. After these common courses, we then have what we call distribution list courses. And this allows students to actually choose a course that sounds really interesting to them from a list of courses, from these distribution lists. So we have different distribution lists, and students will select a course or courses from each of those. And that'll be around 28 to 32 hours of this 50 hours. Students also take a lifetime fitness course. You can kind of think about this as your PE course or your physical education course. Some students decide to do a substitution and do a civic engagement course instead of lifetime fitness. We allow that as well. And then we also require our students to attend 12 events throughout their time at Baylor. We call them CAEs or Creative Arts Experiences. And so these are things like going to see a play, going to hear a concert, going to see an art display. And so students have to attend 12 of these. They're not actually credit bearing, like you don't get course credit for it, but you're checking these off the list here as a part of the requirements. Students also have to attend 2 semesters of chapel. And so these are your core requirements, again, that are about 50 hours. And then students will select a major, and depending on the major, it can range between 27 and 36 hours. A Bachelor of Fine Arts is a little bit higher for that. So that's kind of the breakdown of the coursework there. So as I said, the common courses, we said that there's 15 hours or 5 courses that students take. This is a list of those courses. There are 2 religion courses shown here at the bottom, Christian Scriptures and Christian Heritage. There is an English 2310 that's called American Literary Cultures, and History 1300, the United States in Global Perspective, and then a political science course. We always joke about this course that they win the award for the longest title there, right? So a lot of times we just call it, oh, it's the Constitution class, right? But it really has a long title there. So these are your common courses. So all students within the College of Arts and Sciences will take these 5 courses. I can say that there is even a little bit of variety. For instance, like in the History 1300 course, while that course is called the United States in Global Perspective, they do have some kind of subtopics, and you can kind of choose which of these courses you want to take based on the subtopic that will be focused on in that course. So that's kind of a neat thing for students. And then these are our 9 distribution lists that I mentioned earlier. So communication and media literacy. So that's going to be a distribution list, and it's going to have many courses listed under that, and you will select one of those courses, whichever one sounds most interesting to you, right? So maybe it is a speech course, something like that. Another distribution list is the contemporary social issues. You'll choose a course from that. You'll choose a fine arts and performing arts course. I'm going to come back to foreign languages here in a minute. You'll choose a course from formal reasoning, a course from literature and context, a course from research writing, and then we have two distribution lists for scientific method. We call it scientific method 1 and 2, and you'll choose a course from each of those. Foreign languages and cultures is another distribution list. This is the only one that you don't choose just one course from, because it can vary. So it really does depend on which option you choose, which language you choose, things like what kind of credit are you bringing in. And so that particular distribution list can range between 2 and 4 courses. So several different options there for students. So how do you choose a major, right? You know, there's no perfect way to do this. Here are just some things to think about. You know, what are your interests and what are your skills? What are you good at? You know, are you really good at solving problems, creating, designing things? What about performance, scientific discovery? What about public speaking? Is that something that you're really good at? We always encourage students to think about the subjects that you've made really good grades in, because that really is important. We want you to be successful. You know, we don't want you to choose a major that is really, really hard for you. You struggle, you don't make good grades in that particular major. And the reason is because you're not going to be happy. You're not going to be happy doing that. So that is important to think about. Think about the classes that you currently have. What are your favorite classes? Why are they your favorite classes? What are you doing in those classes that are fun for you, right? So what do you enjoy? So those are types of things that you want to think about whenever you're choosing a major. All right, so then I have a few slides here, and don't worry, I'm not going to read all these different majors off to you, but I just want you to see the breadth of majors that we have within the College of Arts and Sciences. So here's one slide. You can see a lot of them. You know, some of them seem pretty obvious because you see these types of majors at all institutions, right? So like chemistry, English, but you might see some things on here that you haven't seen before, right? Great texts of the Western tradition, right? Greek and Roman studies. Here's a whole nother list, right? Like I said, we have a lot of different choices here, right? Here, look, here's a whole nother list as well. The reason why you'll see some overlap when we look at these different categories here, you see chemistry again, and that's because some of these majors are actually offered in both a BA, Bachelor of Arts degree, as well as a Bachelor of Science degree that you can choose from. And so the courses required there are going to be a little bit different. We have a lot of options. The other thing that I would like to stress is in trying to figure out what you want to major in, the best thing to do, is think about those questions that I just mentioned to you guys. But just start exploring, right? I mean, you saw from the core curriculum the breadth of courses that you're going to need to take at Baylor. And so we would encourage you to start taking those classes and see, you're like, okay, this, maybe this is a course that I really thought I would love, but I'm not really in love with it after taking that particular course, right? And then you take another course, like, wow, I never even knew what this discipline was. I want to explore it a little more. I want to take another course within this. And so those are ways to try to figure out your major. But what happens if you start taking courses and you just have so many interests, right? Maybe that's why you're undecided right now, is because you've got 5 different disciplines that you are just fascinated with. You start taking those courses and you're still fascinated with that, right? Well, there's a lot of different options. You don't have to just choose one major. We have options for students to choose secondary majors, double majors. You can do minors. You can do multiple minors, right? We even have programs called certificates, which they don't require as many hours as a minor, but this certificate is something that also would go on your transcript as well. So a lot of different options if you are one of those students who just really like the breadth of these disciplines. So just want to say that you don't have to be limited in any way within that. All right, well, I'm going to stop right there and see if we have any questions. We have someone moderating the chat, so you guys can put your questions in there and I will do my best to answer those questions.
I think, Dr. Moehnke, while we're waiting for them to kind of gather their thoughts after all of that great information, I thought I'd just kick us off with what is your favorite thing about the College of Arts and Sciences, and especially about teaching within the College of Arts and Sciences?
Oh, that's a good question. See, I didn't know I was going to be interviewed here, right? And all of this, right? No, oh, sorry, let me go back here. No, that's a great question. I think what I really like, and you can probably tell from what I've been stressing within this talk today, is the breadth of it. So my background is in the sciences. I teach in the biology department at Baylor. Obviously, I like the sciences. I like to teach the sciences. But I also really, really, really enjoy the humanities and social sciences side of things as well. I always did as an undergrad too, enjoyed taking those types of courses. And so I really like teaching and working within a college that values the breadth of this, right? So, and that's a liberal arts education, right? You're not just going to come to Baylor and you're going to major in something and those are the only courses that you are going to take. The reason is because for me, in order to be a good scientist, I need to have these other areas as well. I need to be really good at writing. I need to be good at communicating, right? I take joy within fine arts and things like this as well. And so I really like being at a place where faculty from across the disciplines truly do value all of these disciplines, right? And I think that comes across in our core curriculum, it comes across in our teaching, so that we can really encourage students to have that same mindset as well. See some questions popping up. So I know you guys are thinking about some different questions to ask. I know that was pretty fast, had to kind of fly through all that information. I do want to add that everything that I just talked about, you can find that information on the website if you want to explore. For instance, maybe you want to explore those distribution lists that I talk about, like you want to know exactly what classes are in those distribution lists. Feel free, go to the Baylor website and you can just search College of Arts and Sciences core curriculum. We have a fantastic website that provides all those different courses for you as well.
There's a good question here in the chat from a parent. They ask, can you tell me what internships look like in the field? I have a daughter who is an excellent communicator and artist all in one, and would love to be able to relay your opinions, Dr. Moehnke, for this field.
Yeah, so you're, was that specifically referencing internships, I think is what the first part of that was?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, so I mean, definitely, the coursework is really important, but being in the field and the doing side of things is also really important. And that's going to be whether you're talking about the sciences and being in a science lab, whether you're talking about fine arts and doing, kind of their component of lab work that's associated with that as well. Our faculty are extremely successful in getting our students out there and involved in the types of things that they need to be successful within their career. I would encourage you to reach out. And again, like, I'm my work is mostly on the science side of things, but I would encourage you to reach out to these departments that you're interested in. For instance, if it's art, and specifically ask them, say, what types of things are your students doing? And I think that you're going to get a very direct response and see to understand better of what we're encouraging our students to do. Internships do look a little bit different depending on department, depending on whether that's something that's happening over a summer and maybe occurring at a place outside of Baylor. Maybe it's something that's actually occurring more locally, and so can happen during the actual semesters as well. It also is going to vary as far as like course credit. If that particular internship, if it's able to be overseen to receive course credit, we have options for that as well. Again, very discipline dependent. And sometimes it's simply not for course credit, but the actual experience. Or it could even be a paid internship. So I've seen kind of a little bit of everything across the spectrum of disciplines.
Great, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Another question here is someone is wanting to know if joining a choir would count for an art credit.
Good question. So we do have for the fine arts, I'm trying to remember here. Hold on. There are credits that can be given for things like, I know for band, there are some credits that are counted for band, and so I'm pretty sure it's for choir as well. That is an excellent question. And I don't want to say yes, definitely, because I don't want to be making things up here. So let me do this. So if you could, Jordan, do you think you could get maybe an email address or something from that individual? Because I really want to be able to give them the correct answer rather than just assuming something, because I'm not sure that would be something that would be easily found on the website.
Yeah, absolutely. So Rachel White is the person who asked this question. Rachel, if you could shoot me an email directly, I'll put my email here in the chat. Just with your question, then Dr. Moehnke and I will get an answer for that for you, hopefully by next week.
Definitely. And the other reason why I want to just really make sure I get a good answer for you is that there are different choirs. And so there's some that are more like student group oriented, and then there's some that are, official Baylor choirs. And I'm not sure exactly if all of those count or some of them. And so I want to be able to give a specific answer there. Any other questions? I know we're getting close to our time here, but happy to answer any other questions that you guys might have.
All right, so since we have just 1 minute left, I think we will just end by saying that if y'all have any additional questions, please reach out to admissions@baylor.edu. We'll also have a recording of this entire session available. And to end, I just want to ask Dr. Moehnke, what's your favorite class to teach?
Ooh, my favorite class to teach. I really love all the classes I teach. My favorite one is a course called Medical Genetics. And so it's mostly a junior, senior level course. And it's a nice small course. There's only about 30 students in there. And we have a lot of fun. I'm teaching that course right now. And it's a lot of fun because it's such a small course. We're actually on my to-do list for today later on is I need to sit down and look at my calendar because I'm trying to figure out a way, since a lot of them are graduating, to have them all come over to the house, and we're going to grill and cook for them and stuff like that. And so I'm hopeful that my calendar will work out with that. But that's one of the fun things that I like to do. Again, it's because that course is so small. I also do have courses I teach that are very, very large. And they're fun to teach too. But when I really get to connect with students in those nice little 30-seater classes, it's just a lot of fun.
That's incredible. And I think that's a testament to the Baylor difference for sure, is that you're even thinking of doing that for your students.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun.
Amazing. Well, thank you all so much for being here today. If you have any additional questions, like I said, please feel free to reach out to us at admissions@baylor.edu. Take a break so you don't get Zoom fatigue, and we will see you in another session today. Have a great day. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.